what I wanted to show you then in this video was how to make these soil blocks using the soil block, which is a device that produces these 5 cells with the indentation in the top that you sow the seed directly into. And the advantage of that is that the module trays that you use, that you might prick out into, you might only use those once or twice, and then they'll be broken probably, and you'll throw them away and you can't recycle them. These can go on for forever. You can make wood boards to sit them on instead of the plastic trays, but these plastic trays will last a long time, and they're made out of recycled plastic. Also, the roots get out into the ground better. They're not stuck in the modules, slowing them down. So I've done a trial before, growing things at the same time in module trays and in the soil blockers, and the soil blockers get to full size and produce a harvest quicker than they do out of the module trays. So the key to the soil blocking really is the compost mix. So I use 2 scoops of multi-purpose peat-free compost, 2 scoops of the coir, which I'll show you now. This one's called a cocoa peat brick, but there's no peat in there. It's like a peat replacement really. It's pure coconut fibre from coconut husks, and all the water's taken out and it's dried into a block like this. You can get different prices and different sizes. Wilco's used to do a good one, but sadly that is no more, and I can't find that one. This is quite a small one. This is 5 litres. Sometimes you can get them from the pound shop. I've been fortunate enough to do that, get the 5 litre ones from the pound shop. I don't know, I'll have to wait and see if they do them this year, but you can see it's a compressed block, really solid. What you have to do is you have to put some, so for the 5 litres you put 5 litres of lukewarm water in there, so roughly it's a surprising amount of water actually that goes in, and then you leave that once it's in. Some of them come with their own little bag for it to go in, but easy enough with the bucket. And you can always add a bit more. It's easy enough to add a bit more rather than take some out. So I'll leave it like that for now, and I'll keep topping it up. If it's soaked that up and I've broken it down and it still looks dry, I'll add a bit more water, and then I'll add that back to the mix for the soil blockers. And 1 scoop of perlite. The perlite and the coir will bind it together and stick it, but the coir has no nutrients at all, no nutritional value whatsoever. So that's where the multi-purpose compost comes in, because that adds the nutrients it needs. So what you want to do is get it well mixed up, and you make it wet, quite wet, much wetter than you'd have your normal compost. And if it's too wet, what will happen is it'll just fall out of these modules. If it's too dry, they'll crumble away at the end, and you can just add a bit more water or add some more dry compost and mix it into. But you'll get a feel, having done it a few times, as to how wet the compost should be, what kind of moisture level it should have. So what you do is you just push it down into there, into the compost, and you just walk it through the compost. And it does look a bit, you think, oh well, it's a bit harder than just filling module trays, but it's quite a nice activity. It's quite satisfying when they come out. So once you get to that stage, if you can see the water come up through the top, that's a good sign, because it shows that they've all been filled. But you can tend to tell when they've been filled, you get a feel for it. And then scrape off any excess, just to make it nice and neat, and so that they can sit up properly without tipping over. And then you just place it in the tray, you push down on the lever, up they come, and then you've got soil blocks, which you can sow your seed directly into. Right, so I've pinch sown the lettuce. This one's a heritage lettuce called speckled trout, and I hope that you can see them there. So I've pinch sown those. I aim for about 2 seeds. Some have got 3 and 2 seeds, depending on how rare they are, into each one. And then what I'll do is I'll just pull the ones out. I'll just thin them out down to 1 in each block. If I've got something like beetroot or the onions that I'm going to sow, I didn't show you the onions because it had been difficult to see the black seed. I'll just leave them. I'll leave them in there, 2 or 3 seeds in each one, and I'll plant them out like that. They'll be absolutely fine together. And then all you want to do there is take them from there into a tray. At this stage they don't need any watering at all because the compost is so wet, and cover them with a propagator lid. As they start to dry out, if you can use a really gentle waterer like the bottle top waterer that I've shown before, or a watering can, a gentle watering can with a really small rose like an indoor watering can, something like that, that'll help until they get established, because as they're just seedlings they won't necessarily bind that compost together, even though it's stuck together pretty well. If you water it with a heavy watering can or a heavy rose, it might well wash those blocks away. So keep them in there, they'll germinate quickly. The lettuce will germinate quickly at this time of year under the propagator. Let them go on, see the roots coming out into a nice little plant, and then plant them directly into the garden.